Hello, welcome back to my channel. LK Naga, the voice out. Moi ajibi aro ekta kobola ahi ase. Moi aji kobola thaka to hole to itu poila 1960 de 6 September itu Matikhrü laga bosti de massacre hoa laga moi itu kobola ahi ase. Itu Punjab regiment khan to itu laga bosti mora dia laga moi itu history holop kobola ahi ase. Itu to hole to 6 September 2002 de itu kaka di era lubra itu laga bosti punchi gine tai history kan hudi gine likhya laga eta ase moi itu laga olop share kuri dibo naga manu bishi manu bi naga history na jani ne thaki ase itu bra moi olop itu naga manu ka koi dibo hogine moi ahi ase itu tai Mataker laga historical background itu kan bi tai likhi kina ase itu bra moi olop itu kan share kuri ne pichete moi olop puri kina dekhai dibo itu laga video olop lamba hobo lagi ase aro lamba hobole ase hole apni kan itu bear koribi hoigina moi itu first janai ase itu Mataker laga bosti do holo to Burma saipara aha laga ekta ase takan ekta bosti de bimar olagine buhiwala napare gine ekta bosti da ahibo aro tate bi bimar hobra buhiwala napara hoise aro ekta bosti da ahise itu bi napara hoise wena last de itu Mataker bosti itu to holo to Thetsa river valley tate buhia laga ekta ase aro takan inaga buhigine takan enjoy gorina thaka inaga tamde India army kan ahina takan ge mora dia laga ekta ase aro takan ge itu situation incident face hoa tamde itu laga bosti do hole to core 15 thaki ase aro takan laga itu population do hole to 70 inaga thakise mokan itu khobor pa ase tate bra kile itu laga to Indian mi kan do ahi ne itu laga bosti massacre hoise moi itu laga olop share koribo itu to hole to naga army kan to itu Assam rifle outpost thuda koine itu fort village osor ta thaka itu attack korise aro itu attack kora tamde takan 13-14 days ahise itu fight kurine takan war kurine ahise aro titamde itu laga post thaka kan Assam rifle kan holebi itta kan laga ammunition takan laga guli bon itu kan na hoise aro naga army kan bi itu kan na hoise itu bra aro bukhi bola ahi bola na para hoise takan bi kera mane itu naga army kan to takan rasta kan gari aha bola rasta kan sob biya kuri dise inaga hoine itu outpost itu bishi dur paina thaka tamde itu dakota hoine eta jet fighter takan ge itu ammunition kan aro takan laga kha laga itu kan to girai thake itu bra naga army kan to itu laga air to itu laga jet fighter to takan girai dise itu tamde India army kan to itu laga revenge lobole takan ahise kile mane naga army kan to itu air itu jet fighter itu mari dia bra aro asol to takan to itu Mataker bosti itu bisari kena aha nai takan to itu hutsu oine ekta bosti ase itu bisari kena hise kila mane itu hutsu bosti to hole itu Assam rifle came itu attack kora tamde takan bat sat khan aro naga army kan ki lagi ase itu kan sob takan itu modop kora laga bosti eta ase itu pra India army kan do itu laga bosti bisar gina hise holebi takan mistake hoigine itu Mataker laga bosti itu he takan suspect kurigine takan itu laga bosti de massacre hoise aro takan itu laga bosti da ahi gine takan bosti rang kori loise rang korine takan ke maria suru ho jaise ran 3 ta kori loise aro titamte ko to takan 10 baji am itu tamte ase ina ko ase inaga hoina mutakan sob aro bacha maki kan bi sob ani gine itu bosti laga center eta da rakhise aro bacha kan maki kan allow kuri digine itu muta kan ge sob itu mari gine takan laga hardi kan bangi kine thaka laga mukan itu khobor paise aro maki kan ge itu ola bole dise takan ge force kuri gine jungle jabole dise aro itu tamde takan ge mari gine alag punishment digine takan ge itu torture kurina thakise aru itu tamde takhan laga gola khami katti dise holabi ekjon itukke khweza koine tai to tate he bola parise hoina mugan itu khombor paise itu laga history to mugan babia tamde ekdom mombi khalaga ekta ase maki bacha kan to jungle te birai gene itu fruits jungle laga fruits itu khane khaine birai gene jaise aro ekta bosti da hibo kuma to takhange host na kore takhange load na loe kila mane boi khabra kuma bosti to takhange saigine bolbara saise inaka khombor bi paise inaka hoine takan bishi du paigine aha laga ekta ase moi itia kinaka likhigina ase moi itu sob puribola na paribo holebi kote important ase moi itu kan apuni kan ke purigine moi dekhai dibo. Their joys and their plans were, however, to be suddenly shattered by political events beyond their knowledge and the peaceful serenity of their village. This time round, the cruel hands of Indian through the 16th Assam Regiment would once again almost smother the flickering flame of life that was beginning to glow again in Matikhrü village. The tragedy would leave 6 of the 13 adult males beheaded and 3 dying from their wounds. Their village too would be reduced to ash, along with all their granaries. The surviving widows and children would be forced to wander into strange lands for 2.5 agonizing years. Since the outbreak of war in Nagaland in 1956, the villagers of Matikhrü had also been actively involving themselves in the struggle for freedom. Of the 13 adult males in the village, Wepelo, Nuchutsu, and Nuthoku were already in the Naga army and civil branch. Among the ladies, Winihilu was already the woman president of the region. Their village being very rich in food grains, they were supplying huge quantities to the Naga struggle. 3 days later, on July 31, 1960, Pizzo did officially and outrightly reject the 16-point agreement on the grounds of that the 19 signatories did not have any mandate of the Naga people. However, in spite of Pizzo's rejection, the treacherous agreement would to a large extent severely damage the Naga national cause and condemn the Naga nation to 43 years of Indian rule through the so-called puppet Indian state of Nagaland. In order to register their protest against this Indian engineer treacherous act, the federal government of Nagaland had ordered the Naga army to attack Assam Rifles outpost at Thuda near Port Village in Puchuri region. As already mentioned in a former chapter, as Indian Dakota trying to drop relief materials and ammunition to the besieged outpost was shot down by the Naga army on the 14th day of the siege. All the 9 airmen, including their captain, Fleet Lieutenant A.S. Singh, were captured. The capture of these airmen, however, resulted in heavy Indian Army operation in the Puchuri region. Many villages around Port area were burned to ashes. Also, as mentioned earlier, on September 1, 1960, 6 villagers of Port village were tortured to death. Again on September 3, 1960, another 3 villagers of Yesi village and 2 from Moke village were also beaten to death. In another village, Laruri Linsan was even buried alive after severe torture. Actually, Matakher village was not anywhere in the immediate vicinity where the Indian Dakota was down. But unfortunately, Matikhrü village resembled Hutze village from where all the food was cooked for the Naga army personnel who had attacked the Assam Rifles outpost at Thuda. Both Matikhrü and Hutsu villages were perched on top of small hillocks. Below both villages flow the rivers sorry, Tetsu and Tizu with their white valleys. The Indian army searching for Hutsu village to punish it for its participation in the attack of Tuda must have mistaken Matikhrü for Hutsu as they descended down from the Kanjan mountain. From higher slopes, both villages would have looked alike. The punitive action taken on the mistaken Matikhrü village happened on September 6, 1960. Around 10 a.m., hundreds of Indian soldiers descended on the small village of 15 houses. The village was first encircled in 3 rings. Then the soldier marched in calling, draping, pulling, and pushing both young and old members of the village into the center of the village. Rifle boats and boots were freely used in this assemblage of the villagers. Next came the blows from both rifle boots and huge wooden poles. The question asked where are the Naga army soldiers whom you had fed? Where are the guns you have hidden? One of the elders who knew a little smattering of Hindi pleaded that they did not know anything. But the more they pleaded, the more they were beaten. Folded hands that were raised to plead for mercy were broken as the wooden stick smashed them. Very soon, all the adult males were lying in a heap of broken ribs and broken bodies. Pungoi's back had been broken in one of the blows, and his wife had dragged him away from the circle of the beatings. As he lay outside the circle trying for water, his wife brought some in a bamboo cup, but as the wife tried to pour it on Pungoi's lip, both the cup and the wife's hand were knocked away, spilling all the water on the ground. All the women and children were lined up in a row as their beating continued. Some of them were screaming and trying for singing their parents being beaten, black and blue. Others stood trembling, speechless in utter terror. The beatings went on for hours without respite. Those whose legs and beds were broken lay unconscious, but the others who were still conscious were made to pull their ears and down frog jumping. Any of the males members who so much as faltered from this punishment received terrible blows from the soldiers beating them. The torture had started around 11 a.m. in the morning. Around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the women and children were driving into the jungles at the point of rifles and threats of bullets. However, before they were driving away from the village, Zuhuto's father Mizito called his son to come to him. Zuhuto was then only 7 years old, but still vividly remembers what his father said to him. He had to bend down to hear his father's last words, because his father could not even speak up. Mizito's whole face and body were soaked in blood from the beatings he had received. Early Zuhuto had seen his father's face being lacerated by a spear handle, as blows after blows landed on his face from the handle. His face now a mass of congealed blood, his nose and lips all swelling and bloated. Mizito helped his son with the last strength of his strength and told him, "Son, I will not be able to survive, but you must be brave. Do not quarrel among yourselves and love your mother. She will take care of you all." Before he could say any more words, the soldier came and shouted at Zuhuto to flee into the jungles with the rest of the women and children. At the same time that Zuhuto was asked to flee with the rest, Wepulo, another young man, was lying unconscious in a corner with a broken bone. One Indian Jawan shot him away and told him to flee with the rest. He would later recount that perhaps there was one among the soldiers who had human emotion and saved his life from sure death. Not long after fleeing into the jungles, the frightened women and children heard the sound of gunfire in the village. A little later, they saw their village burning. As for the 9 adults left in the cruel hands of the Indian soldiers right after driving away the children and women fall, they were all dragged into Tha's house. On entering the house, the beating stopped abruptly and they were all made to seek on the floor like lambs for the slaughter. When Tha saw that the soldiers had broke in their doors, he immediately realized that they were going to be beheaded, struggling to his feet in defense. He shouted to the rest of his friends, "It is a matter of a man's pride for his birthright. I shall never surrender. I am ready to sacrifice my life for future generation of Nagas." Before he could say any further, Pogolo, who was sitting closest to the door, was beheaded. As Kekweze saw another head decapitated from the body, he charged through the door and came out of the house. In spite of this battered body, he was able to knock down several soldiers who tried to grab him. As he fled into the jungle, hundreds of bullets were fired on him, but only one struck him in the hand. He fled on with the sound of his friends' screamings ringing in his ears. Nagas believe that in every incident of death in war, one man always escapes to tell the tale to others. On this fateful day, Kekweze was chosen to be that sole survivor to tell the tale of his other friends who were beheaded. Tragically, his mission accomplished, he too died a few days later from his beating as well as his wounds. To this day, the Puchuri Students' Union observes 6 September as a Black Day in memory of the massacre at Mataker on September 6, 1960. The name of the 9 victims, some of who were beheaded and others who died from machete injuries on September 6, 1960 were Tha, Pokalo, Mazito, Pungoi, Zasityo, Eyetse, Kizukwelo, Titu, and Kekweze. Kekweze died a few days later from his beating and wound, but was able to tell their story to the rest of the villagers. The author visited this village on September 6, 2002. On this visit, which was also a commemoration day of the September 6, 1960 massacre, the author discovered that today Mataker had drawn back to a population of over 400 souls with 75 houses. Hinagase, itu laga story to bishi lamba ase. Holobi sot puri bola na pare. Idura moi itu laga story to moi yetebra chadibo. Idura sot mano dimbal thakibi. Thank you all. God bless Nagaland. Aru last time moi koi thaka. Don't forget to speak your native language. Itu bahada thaka manu khan, bacha khan. Nijor laga kotha itu kobole napahuribi koigine moi itu jana di ase.